What's going on? Here with you at FC Wonderkid, episode 120. Here with my guy, Bretson. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, you can't see. It is sunny here. I'm in Cape May, New Jersey for a little family reunion, but that does not get in the way of talking football with you, Alex. And my goodness, we had like a whole lot of action over the weekend that I think we have to 3 hour show today. What are you thinking? 4 hours?
No doubt, Bretson. We have Cristiano Ronaldo scoring hat tricks. We have Messi completely destroying the MLS as he keeps on doing on a weekly basis. And we have the Premier League, and we're going to get into every single topic. But before we start, do not forget to like episode 120. Comment down below reacting to one of the timestamps because yes, you can see what we're going to talk about in this podcast if you see the description, people. So go bold and let's get to it with Tottenham and Ange Postecoglou. This is a new era, a changed team. And I want to start by saying the midfield. Pape Sarr, Bissouma, a new core, and James Maddison as the new 10. That is just looking different. I know it's not Harry Kane, the 10 that used to be, but now with Maddison, it's a good start. How do you feel with this, Bretson?
Well, I mean, I think you mentioned Harry Kane. Okay, the 9 has not been figured out yet, and I'm gonna say the negative first. Richarlison, I've been holding out hope for Richarlison, hoping that he could be that guy that even fills one shoe for Harry Kane. Not both shoes, but one shoe for Harry Kane. He's not that guy. No. I have come to terms with it. It is a sad day for me because I really did think Richarlison could actually do some damage. It's still early in the season, but what you mentioned is what I definitely want to focus on, that midfield, those cast-offs, the guys that were not really even expected to play another minute in a Spurs shirt. And now you've got Bissouma, you've got Pape Matar Sarr sending in balls to Maddison like that that's just great stuff as a 20-year-old on a big stage. And it is early, but Alex, I'm seeing like way too much positivity in the Spurs Twitter sphere, in the Spurs fandom.
Deserved.
They are talking about Big Ange bringing back a positive mentality, bringing back a fun team to watch. Gone is the days of like defensive this, defensive that, and then let Harry Kane and Son do the tricks. No, everybody is on the attack in this space, and I love it.
It's a new Spurs. I completely agree with you, Bretson. And Big Ange has a new style of play, a progressive style of play, something that is different from the past years at Spurs. Spurs has been playing most definitely more defensive football with Conte in the past, with 3 center backs in almost every system in the past. And now, Ange Postecoglou, he has the respect of the players. He has the trust of the players. Son, Maddison, Romero, key leaders. And Pape Sarr and Bissouma, like people forget Bissouma replaced. No, I should have replaced Bissouma at Brighton, which that's unreal to think about that. But you mentioned something. Spurs will definitely not win a Premier League title anytime soon when they have Richarlison at striker. Okay, they're playing beautiful football. Beautiful football. One of the best I've seen in the last few years. But with Richarlison, they will not go as good as top 4, reaching top 4. Richarlison has 1 goal in his last 30 games for Spurs. It's a confidence issue. I don't know what's happening with him. But if they want to succeed big time, get Gift Orban this summer. I think it would give assurities for this season. And that would be already fantastic. But another point on the positive. I don't want to be just negative, because you're playing beautiful football. It's the midfield. But most importantly, it's the defense. Yes, it's less. It's with a man less. Okay, instead of it being a defensive 5, now it's 4 at Tottenham. But it's very organized. It's a defense. The average age at the defense of Tottenham is 23.2 with Destiny Udogie, Mickey van de Ven, Romero, Porro, and Vicario. This is a new team, new defense, and they're doing wonders. I might say this. Udogie and Porro are one of the best fullback duos in the Premier League. And if you're that in the Premier League, you're one step away of being one of the best in the world. And reminder, Udogie is 20 and Borus 23. Rejuvenated that fullback duo that was needed. And that's how you start a lot of rebuilds like we see in today's day and age. So focus on that, and it's great to see. Big Ange has changed the style of play.
He absolutely has. And I think a lot of it's also mentally. This is a guy that builds people up instead of breaks them down. I guess a little bit like Antonio Conte. Big Ange is more... I mean, I think if there's a turnaround in the future for Richarlison, it comes because Big Ange is coach. It comes because Big Ange is there. I honestly do believe he's a guy that is going to kind of fuel these guys onward, and has given them the confidence to play sans Harry Kane. They feel like a better team because of Harry Kane. They might not be a better team because Harry Kane is gone, but they feel like they're a better team. And sometimes you got to fake it until you make it. And you mentioned the fullbacks. I got to give some love to the center back duo because Mickey van de Ven, his recovery speed, he's got size, he's got the ability to tackle, he's got all that stuff. And then you marry that with Cuti Romero's aggression and tenacity and sometimes way over the top. But it works. It really does work. It's going to get better, but I really like that center back duo. And yeah, I mean, they're cooking, man. We'll see when they get to some even tougher fixtures.
Exactly.
But I love it. I love it. It's early, but I love it.
You said it. I want to see this defense, Mickey van de Ven Romero against Man City, against Man United. But honestly, with Babsar Bissouma supporting them, Oiberg on the bench, like unreal options. It's looking different. And even seeing now Jota might be coming. He's not happy. And Al Ittihad, some rumors suggested. But we saw when
2 months later.
No, but we're going to talk more about Saudi League in episode 120. But mentioning on Jota and relating with Son and Richarlison, when Richarlison came off, Son played at the 9 role. And I could see that long-term happening more and more if Richarlison cannot get it done and it don't get another striker. That will be another option. And the thing that you said about breaking players, and Big Ange doesn't break players, instead he builds them up. I agree, but I just think Conte has world-class expectations with everyone, and Ange is more realistic. And we can see that with Lo Celso, with what you said about building up instead of breaking. He's trying to integrate Lo Celso and bring the asset that they wanted to be high performance to actually be that. So I think he's more human in that approach. And I think all Tottenham fans appreciate that too with Big Ange. They feel like he's approachable. He's a manager that looks out for Tottenham, and he knows what the point that they're at. He knows that there's not a good world-class striker ahead. He knows that he needs to fix things. So it's good times. And yes, people, let us know what you're thinking too about Tottenham in the comments. Yeah. What are you thinking, Breton?
Well, I wanted to let you segue into the next one, but I think it's a great point because Big Ange is growing with this team, right? It's very different than when Antonio Conte came in. I mean, come on, he's a legendary coach. He's done a whole lot of it at the peak, and you're absolutely right. You come in and you basically will the 9 other guys, that aren't Harry Kane and Son, they have to be at this level at all times and above this level. Otherwise, they break them down. Big Ange is very different, and there will be a ceiling. There likely will be a ceiling, or there will be a time limit on this because at some point the rest of the Premier League defenses are going to wise up. They're going to understand the way he plays. They're going to be able to. So they're going to have to keep him guessing, and I'll be really interested when we get in the thick of the season whether or not Spurs, peter out or they continue to press on, and maybe Big Ange becomes the next, I don't know, world-class coach. We'll see. But early days, early returns are very nice to watch. It's just a different Spurs team, and I am here for it. I like it.
I think world-class is still, as I agree with you, it's still early. But it's like Eddie Howe at Newcastle. That was pretty good to get top 4. Like Arteta with Arsenal, people are still, they're not saying world-class straight away, but they're still in the fence. Let's say if Big Ange gets in that conversation too. Thank you. And leave your opinions about Tottenham in the comment section down below. But Man United had a tough one. That was a tough game. But I want to say something clearly to everyone at home. Ever since Cristiano Ronaldo left Man United, they haven't replaced with any striker that is close, I will say close to the level of getting 20 goals per season. Højlund, he's needed. Højlund will have the attention, the spotlight, because Martial, It can't do. It can't be Martial at striker. If that's the case, you're not going to get top 4. Man United will not get top 4 if they're playing Martial at striker or Sancho. He's not that bad, Sancho, but he's not world class. That's what they need. They need someone that scores 20 to 25 goals. And you people that blame Casemiro for Man United's problems, you don't know ball. Okay, the calmness, the leadership he has, that to be losing and to be in that point in the game, Casemiro helped to do the remontada. He's the reason why the remontada happened. So don't you dare say bad about Casemiro playing. Some idiots, I've been seeing so many people say bad of him. It cringes me, Breton. It cringes me so much.
Man on an island is I guess the phrase in mind. One guy cannot take on 6 if he's overextended like that, and I think that's where Casemiro, he wasn't getting support, and one guy can't stop. I think it's striker problem more.
Attack, this game was more striker. Eriksen was very close to the striker a lot of times, like we said about Mount.
Right.
Even Eriksen at this time. But it's because the striker doesn't do pressure. Martial doesn't pressure. It's unreal. I've never seen this. I've never seen a striker so poor for Man United. Never.
But Alex, Ten Hag has had all August, all July, all June to figure this out, and he still has not gotten. They decided to go for an injured player.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to go for an injured player.
I would get Ivan Toney. I would get Ivan Toney right now. If I was Man United, Højlund is out. Okay, we expect Højlund to be incredible in his next 5 years in football. He's 20. Sure. Okay, that's fantastic. Get Ivan Toney, that is much better than Martial, and you don't put Rashford as striker. No one wants to see Rashford as striker. The runs, the amounts of plays that are not used because Rashford is not in the right position. Crosses, loads of crosses that have no intent because Rashford doesn't know the movement. They need a top striker or Toney. I would get him straight away. That would be my message now for Man United's fans. Get Toney.
Yeah,
get Toney.
And I think that's great. Great depth piece and a guy that would push Højlund the moment he gets in there. I could even see Toney making it his as Højlund, learns or earns his stripes in the Premier League, because remember, this is a kid coming in with nine Serie A goals to his name, but a massive skill set that obviously if well tapped into, we can all see it. He could become very, very good for Manchester United. But listen, my biggest worry is okay, in the short term it definitely is striker, okay? But in the long term, it's that defense, because once again, we see it, that left back, Malaysia is out. Luke Shaw's now out, and now they're sniffing around. Now they're sniffing around Chelsea to see if they could bring in Mark Cucurella. They don't have the depth because they can't architect a move out for Harry Maguire. They can't architect a move out for literally. I don't know how they can't do it and Chelsea can. Right? They can't find moves for the players that they want away.
But who at Chelsea was worse than Maguire and McTominay?
Oh, well, nobody was worse. I mean,
exactly.
Necessarily. But
exactly.
But McTominay, they wanted $40 million for McTominay from West Ham.
That's unrealistic.
They wanted $40 million. Exactly. And that's United's fault, not West Ham's fault. I mean, and to be honest, I think if McTominay went to West Ham, he'd ball.
And then
you
see Jorginho leaving for $15 million. I think that's why Chelsea's selling and United ain't. But I get you. But I get where you're coming from. They should do better.
But that's going to test things, because Luke Shaw out. I mean, those flanks are a worry. I think
agree.
The fullbacks
for
for Man United.
Anthony looks better too. The wingers,
that's good.
The wingers don't look with a lot of support. I'd say that too. Like for me, Man United should have Garnacho starting every game. Honestly, if Rashford's playing striker, definitely Garnacho should be starting every game. Look, if Martial's playing like that, I'd put Rashford as striker, even if it's bad. Please, I reiterate, get Toney, or Højlund. I don't know, just come out, mate, because it's needed. But Bruno Fernandes too. I wanted to give a bit of a shout out to De Bruyne. I saw his start bench cell of. Did you see that one? De Bruyne did a start bench cell with Bruno Fernandes, Martin Odegaard, and James Maddison, and that was his order. So I'm going to say Bruno Fernandes, big respect from De Bruyne to come and say that. Creativity, genius. So I wanted to say too, Bruno Fernandes being the captain of this team helped, okay, for them to give this remontada a chance, okay? Bruno Fernandes was the leader in this remontada for it to happen. Creativity, progressive football, and yeah, that's what Erik ten Hag needs. And again, a lot of people point fingers to Bruno, but it's wrong. It's wrong too, because Miro and Bruno, they're doing the best they can with what they have given to them. Look, that's literally what the striker's not there. Wingers, Rashford is playing as striker, so you don't have the best wingers. Like midfield support, it could be better on the bench. Like Donny, even Donny Breton, Donny van de Beek. Like
leaving.
What we remember him. There's so many pointing.
The streets remember, right? The streets remember that. I don't understand. I don't know if we'll ever see that Donny van de Beek again, which is just a shame. It really is a shame.
Maybe we won't see Anthony again too.
You never know. You never know. I don't know. But I do have to ask you, Onana, you're still. We saw probably the worst of what you'll see from Onana, I guess. Like that's the worst of what you'll see in terms of positioning. Sometimes some mental mistakes here and there. But that's kind of not I told you so, because it wasn't really that bad. They ended up winning the game. But that's the stuff that for some reason has stuck out to me when I see him. I know everyone wanted to focus on distribution and all that good stuff, but to be honest, if you don't got a striker to send it to hoof it to, if you don't got the front three that you actually want assembled in the way you want them assembled, his distribution means absolute crap until you do.
Exactly. I agree with you, Bretson. His distribution isn't as strong as it should be because nobody's landing it. It's like a player's assisting nonstop and you don't have a striker scoring goals. That's what's happening to Onana. Even with the center backs too. There's no center back this season at Man United you say, oh, he's been world class, most definitely. No. World class names, Varane, Lisandro, they are. Onana, all of them are. But actual games, we're still waiting on seeing. And it's because of the lack of talent, okay? At the wings, at the fullback, and at times in the midfield too. But we're pointing a lot of bad things too. But the truth is, Man United won this game with Erik ten Hag and 3-2. And this was their 20th win at Old Trafford, okay? So they haven't lost.
Goodness.
No, it's not 20th win. Man United haven't lost at Old Trafford in their last 20 games in the Premier League. So regardless of the bad form, Erik ten Hag is still doing a fortress here. And that's how you get consistency, home ground, and you improve upon that. And that's a positive.
And while they put themselves in this situation, you are right. It ended up in a win. It was a beautiful remontada. It was one of those ones where you need to, you dug the hole and they got out of it. And that's wonderful. But it seems Manchester United likes to do this stuff. But I feel like the remontadas of old, right? Because I believe Manchester United is the all-time leader in 2+ goal deficit wins, where they've come back from 2+ goals. I think this was their 13th remontada from 2+ goals down.
What?
Right? And that is the most for any Premier League club ever. I think I just hawked that from Opta somewhere. But listen, I mean, it's a mentality thing, but in this felt different because they dug the hole and then they had to get out. It wasn't class play necessarily. I mean, they were down 2-0 in the first 20 minutes or something? Hey, another striker they could look at is Taiwo Awoniyi. Probably not at the class they want.
Because Tony gets the English national team if he goes to Man United. That's
true.
why I'm pointing it out so much.
A quick little shout out to Forrest Awoniyi, because since he has come in back end of last season to early on this season, guys just scoring goals left and right. It's great to see. But I don't know. I mean, United, I think, has a much rockier road in the near future because that depth is worrying. It really is.
And Mason Mount, let's see if he comes back and he plays better. Maybe Mason Mount will be playing at the wing. I've seen a lot of people talking about that, and I could agree if that's the case. But let us know in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like this video for more Man United comments. And if you're listening to the podcast, come on, people. Comment what you're thinking about it until now. So, Arsenal. Arsenal didn't have the same luck as Man United, maybe. 2-2.
No.
But they didn't have the same luck because they're playing against Rompelinha. That I'm just going to start by saying Rompelinha, which starts for every Premier League team. Okay, not Man United and Man City, but every other Premier League team, Rompelinha would start. okay? And he doesn't start for them because Miro and Rodri are their
Yeah.
elite players. But with
Mm.
Arsenal, if Arsenal don't fix this Havertz problem, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen, mate. They might not finish second if Havertz is starting games because Thomas Partey at right back plays. That is embarrassing. Arsenal's best midfield, okay, right now playing
Mm-hmm.
is Partey, Declan Rice, and Odegaard. At the end of the season, I believe it will be. This is bold, but I believe it will be Declan Rice, Fabio Vieira, and Martin Odegaard, Breton. Okay, trust
Okay.
Fabio Vieira. I saw
He
what I
looked
needed
great.
to see. He's much
Yeah.
confident. Look, Fabio Vieira is intense. Fabio Vieira has better vision. Fabio Vieira has something to prove, and he looked much more determined than Havertz.
Did.
He should be the
Yep.
first sub in midfield ahead of Havertz. He is in my mind at least. So people,
Yeah.
watch out more and more for Fabio Vieira this season because this is the
That-
one. This is the one.
Yeah, no, I saw that exact same thing. I'm surprised I didn't text you about it because he's a guy that I still, even though he hasn't yet broken in, I still have very,
Trust.
very high confidence that he will at some point. But you bring up Havertz, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like we're doing this all the time. We did it with Chelsea. Like, who is he? Is he a midfielder? Is he a forward? What is he? All I gotta say is that the biggest glaring hole in the Arsenal 11 is a little bit like United right now. Well, they have a lot more holes, but Arsenal's biggest glaring hole for me is the fullbacks. And I feel like if the fullbacks aren't doing what they need to do in Arteta's system, I feel like whatever you are expecting from Havertz, maybe that freedom, liberty to roam, the connections, I just feel like he is suppressed. He's not able to do what he needs to do. Now, that's not an excuse because he still has not been good. But when it comes down to it, I think their biggest problem before figuring out Havertz is, I mean, come on, you're starting Jacob Kiwior or whatever, a normal center back, and you're starting Partey, as you mentioned, as a right back, and they have no depth. And they're offloading Kieran Tierney to Real Sociedad, and they got nobody in the wings waiting to go. Tomiyasu can't stay healthy for more than a few games. So yeah, it's worrisome.
It's the
Moving
inverted
forward,
fullbacks. He's Arsenal's trying to Arteta's trying to emulate what Guardiola does at Man City with the fullbacks, being
True,
inverted and being highly involved in the build-up play. What shocks me is knowing this, Zinchenko doesn't play more. Like he's perfect to play in this inverted fullback role and to be playing and distributing around the team. So I'd be more like, why isn't Zinchenko playing more? That's something I've grown to think more and more. But yes, right back, Thomas Partey. I'm going to repeat it, man. This is bad. And striker too. Like it's obvious to me. Like when I say that at the end of the season, Arsenal will be like with Declan Rice, Fabio Vieira, Odegaard ahead of them. It's like Martinelli, Saka, and Gabriel Jesus too. But Eddie Nketiah, I think he deserves that armband. The intensity he has too. He gives a lot to the team, and he got that draw for Arsenal. So I wanted to give a shout out to him. And it's not that look, Arsenal, like Arteta has changed the level of Arsenal. Like Arsenal fans are complaining about the situation this weekend, but like 2 wins and 1 draw out of like 3 games, that's 7 points out of 9. I know Man City is what you're competing against, but you got to compete against yourself and better yourself. And if you better last season, you can become Premier League winner. I'm saying can, but that's the minimal. You need to better yourself. And that's what people are saying. You're not bettering yourself from last season. But with Fabio Vieira on the pitch, yes, you are. Arsenal. I believe
I can
in
remember.
it,
I can remember 18 to 24 months ago when Arsenal, well, they didn't have a standard at that time, and now they do. And now that standard, as you mentioned, is Manchester City. So that's a big deal, and that in and of itself speaks volumes. But you're also going to have hiccups because I do believe last year, as I've mentioned in the preseason predictions and other places, I believe last year was an overperformance. I think there will be a little bit of a reversion to the mean. I don't think they have to finish second. I don't think they're necessarily a contender, but I don't think they have to finish second for it still to be a successful season this season. But
they are contenders. Arsenal to win the Prem.
Yeah.
No.
Manchester's no. There's a second tier. There's Manchester City, and then there's a second tier.
Okay.
So you can make it a contender, but I don't think there are. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I don't think there really are contenders until somebody catches fire, right? Or you go on this massive run, or Manchester City essentially beats themselves, like the De Bruyne. If Foden can't fill in for De Bruyne, or Foden and De Bruyne get injured, then maybe we're talking about it. But now Manchester City's got Bernardo Silva for another year or two. They got Doku coming in as a specialist that's gonna like just destroy people from the 65th minute on. But when it comes down to it with Arsenal, they haven't made any movement on these wingers, on these fullbacks. I'm sorry. And, they are relying a lot, as they should, because he's so dang good. I have to say it. Bukayo Saka is the guy. We all know that. He's grown to be the guy, and I love how he does it. It's so understated. He wants no attention. He really doesn't need the love. He just wants to go out, wear the badge every day, and get it done. And here we are realizing that one of the biggest reasons why Arteta and Arsenal now have the standard that they have is because of Bukayo Saka's evolution, right? Because he has played, you ready for this? He has played 83. Bukayo Saka has played 83 Premier League games in a row. He just set the club record. Paul Merson, he beat. And he just set the record for most consecutive games. He's their Iron Man. He's the guy that they lean on in the Premier League. And I just love the way he plays. I love the way he plays the game. He's the freaking beating heart of what Arteta's vision is here. And it's wonderful to see.
He's the heartbeat. Saka is the heartbeat of Arsenal, and he's the heartbeat of England too. Yeah. My last thing too on Arsenal's point is I want to say Gabriel should start every game right now. Gabriel and Saliba should be the starting two center backs. Okay, I do believe the fullbacks. Yes, it's a problem, but the center back duo has to stay from last season if Jude and Timber is injured, okay? In my mind, before the season had started, in my mind, I thought the Arsenal defense was going to be Zinchenko, Saliba, Gabriel, and at that right back doing that full role, Julian Timber, playing inverted and being more involved in the distribution. So that's not the case. Question marks are coming. But let us know what you are thinking, people, in the comment section. And don't forget to like this video for more Arsenal content. But on the Premier League, whoa, we still have some really good games, didn't we? It's James Ward-Prowse, the signing of the season, Brenton, ahead of James Maddison.
I think so. I mean, to be honest, we all knew it was going to be a slam dunk the moment it happened.
True.
We all knew it was going to be. Ward-Prowse should not be in the championship. We know this. Is he absolutely legendary? No, but is he?
Free kicks he is.
Perfectly. Oh, that's true. I mean, yes. But James Ward-Prowse, that is like the signing that you just knew was going to fit. And of course, literally from the get-go, this guy has already put his stamp on the team and has turned around. West Ham was relegation fodder last season. And then they, of course, saved the season by winning the Conference League. When it comes down to it, you knew that there would be some sort of a snapback, because the same way I think Arsenal overperformed a little bit last season, I think West Ham obviously were underperforming crazy to their ability. We all knew Jared Bowen was better than what he was playing like last season. And Jared Bowen, not surprisingly, took that personally last season, and he has started off hot. But a lot of this all comes down to the fulcrum that is James Ward-Prowse. It is James Ward-Prowse. And if they go out and they land Mohamed Kudus, I mean, you're talking you're talking about a team that could snap back to top 8, top 7 pretty quickly. Quickly.
I don't think they'll finish top 8, but I think they'll be fighting for that top 8, top 10. Like the fact that West Ham sold Declan Rice and West Ham signed Mavropanos. Like good choice getting Mavropanos instead of Maguire. Shout out to that. Edson Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse, and getting Kudus too. Like that's a new midfield and a better midfield, honestly. The midfield of West Ham with Edson Alvarez, Shosek, and James Ward-Prowse, and then you have Kudus supporting it too. Like that's unbelievable to look at. And Jared Bowen will look better, but please fix the striker. If you're just relying on Antonio, like problems will come with time, because Scamacca didn't work out. Danny Ings, I think he's on the bench. I don't think he's world class. Better than striker in the top 8 that you're mentioning now. So I think they should fix that and actually land a proper striker that can score 20 goals in the Premier League. That you don't get that feeling with West Ham.
Oh, you have to understand, they also beat Brighton at the Amex, right? And it was, I wouldn't call it a sound beat, but it was certainly maybe a whole lot better than I thought West Ham was going to be. No, they definitely were not. But there's been a couple fortunate developments, or unfortunate developments for West Ham United. And it's been the Lucas Paqueta deal following through, one. Mikel Antonio was projected to definitely be leaving, and the fact that he is not left yet at least means that they have a striker that is relatively capable, while I agree that it's still a question mark in the long term because Scamacca was supposed to be that guy and was not that guy. And then on top of that, Ward-Prowse just wound up literally being the perfect shoe-in, the perfect guy that they could sign from one of these relegated teams to immediately make their midfield a whole lot better and put less pressure on.
You said top 8, Bretson, though. Like, you believe Antonio's a top 8 striker.
Here's the thing. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, but they have finished top 8 with him as a striker before, so he could do it. But I think the Premier League is a whole lot deeper now with all this money in it. But when it comes down to it, for me, what I think is Edson Alvarez is going to be a slam dunk for West Ham. I think it's is he going to be Declan Rice? No. But is he going to be pretty dang close? Yeah, probably. And then you have Ward-Prowse. I don't know if the Paqueta thing is going to actually come to roost. I don't know if he's actually going to go the way of Ivan Toney or if there's going to be an announcement as to what this investigation is going into. But as long as they have him, they are setting up. Like, Bowen has snapped back some. It's early. Souček has snapped back and been a whole lot better than he was. He was a waste of space for the majority of last season. He was terrible. I think he had the worst season in a West Ham shirt last season for them. But a lot of them did. So, and then they made the right decision. Areola is their goalkeeper, and he had a hell of a game against Brighton. That was a wonderful game for Areola against them. So I'm just saying that the seeds are there because they weren't as bad as they played last season, I guess. They just weren't that bad.
No, I agree with you. I just think last season the form wasn't the best. And two players didn't know who would start. Like, Antonio would expect to start Scamacca, things like this. And once again, I'm going to reiterate, if they don't get a striker, like, this is dreamful thinking that they'll be better than with Declan Rice. But that midfield...
Wait, do you have
sorry, yes?
Do you have a striker in mind?
For West Ham? Why don't get Taremi for the 30 million they're asking? I'm literally saying Taremi always, but, like, Taremi is a realistic option for them to catch. So that would be a striker in mind that I'd say fast, yes.
Yeah,
they have money for it.
It's almost,
but let's wait and see what's going to happen.
They also had money for Balogun, and I don't know if they ever.
I don't think Balogun wanted to stay in the Prem in London, though. I don't think.
But listen,
I think he's going to Monaco, different league. He's playing for the U.S. men's national team too. Like, if he wanted to stay in England, maybe he would have picked England. I think that could have maybe be that in an intention of mine. But yes, people, let us know what you're thinking on the Prem. And yes, anything that we're missing out. And Chelsea, we got to say too, Chelsea looking much better. 3-0 win. Raheem Sterling was a big shine in that game. And Nico Jackson scoring his first goal for Chelsea too. That was pretty good.
It was Luton Town. That's the only thing I have to say about that. But yes, it was good to get that win. The one thing about Chelsea that the realization to me, and it's probably a tweet I saw several days ago confirming this, but it is amazing that they have sold off 2 of their most recent Academy Players of the Year to Newcastle. And they have brought in, indirectly, but they're valued above 70 million pounds, right? The both of them. But both Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall are no longer with Chelsea. They're with Newcastle. And they likely will be Newcastle's flanks for many, many, many years to come. And at one point, they were Academy Players of the Year at Chelsea. Cobham made, Cobham bred, Cobham gone. And it's just kind of It is. It's just a shame to see because this is, and I believe in your Betano. That,
Mm,
I know you're speaking Portuguese, but yeah, I pick up on some of it. I think you were saying the same thing. Like this is with just such a radical shift in this roster, and Pochettino has a massive job ahead of him, but it's also like not a job that I don't think anybody out there is equipped to deal with in terms of this roster turnover in such a quick period of time.
I
It
agree.
will take time for them to gel, but yes, the grains of improvement were certainly there against Luton Town, and I'll be really interested to see where it goes from here.
It's true. It's
But
Luton Town. It's don't need to crack up, go crazy with that,
yeah.
and yeah, keep it down. Still, it's still not the top team. I agree with you. I agree with you with that. But switching now, saying like, don't keep it down. Like this might be the season that AC
Oh,
Milan get another Scudetto.
yeah.
AC Milan
I,
are balling out. Calcio is fun now. Any team can get not any team, but a lot of teams can get top four. The top four race is happening, and AC Milan in 2 games have 2 goals. And who's balling
yeah.
out? Your
Oh,
guy,
Christian.
Bredson.
CP, baby.
2 games,
CP.
2 goals? Like,
But
what? That's more
this
goals
is
than last season for Chelsea.
yeah, two man of the match
Or equal.
awards too. And yeah, I think the Chelsea core of AC Milan is balling out right now.
It's true.
I wouldn't say, Olivier Giroud I know has an Arsenal past as well, right? But at 36 years old, Olivier Giroud has 4 goals, right? I think 2 of them were
Mm,
penalties in this last game. 3 goals, three
three
goals, one
goals.
assist. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of them were penalties versus Torino. But come on, 36 years old, and he's playing like he's 29. And him and CP, him and Pulisic are balling out together. Great communication. You see it, but that's not it. Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Pulisic combined for one of the goals against Torino. On top of that, Fikayo Tomori, who a lot of people were worried about in preseason, is not quite as bad as he was in preseason. He's getting much better and getting kind of gelled back in and feeling good again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think really you boiled it down perfectly. Like Pioli's having fun.
That's true.
This front three is having loads of fun, and it shows on the pitch. And I don't know. I just feel like maybe, well, definitely last season that got tested. And Rafa Leao hasn't even had to necessarily show his best game yet, and he's still been very good, right?
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
it's so much fun to watch. Like Rafa Leao, Giroud, Pulisic, and then you get to bring in Chukwueze off the bench.
And
It's
Okafor for
and
Giroud too,
Okafor's been good.
which is something that
Yeah,
last
it's been good.
season Origi wasn't turning up, and to get Okafor gives more options, and that's what I gotta say. The Tonali money now, it's inevitable to say that yes, they haven't replaced directly Tonali with a player with the same level, but as what the money got you. Like, it got better
Mm,
players in general. Like, there's a
yeah.
new midfield at AC Milan without Tonali. And midfield with Reinders that is looking good.
Yes, I love
And
him.
midfield with
Yeah.
Ruben Loftus-Cheek that with no injuries, we know he works hard and he's massively talented, okay? He can be
Yep.
a home run if he works out, that he's looking good. Benacer will be back from injury in a couple of months. Musa
You,
is still
Musa got his
improving.
time.
Improving.
Yeah.
He's gonna improve. It's still, but like it's
But
6
that
months
Teo
in a
goal,
year. And that's how
you,
goal, exactly.
that Teo goal. Oh
And
my
that's what I
gosh, that
gotta
was so
say with
buttery.
Milan. I'm still shook. Like Tonali might have left Milan.
Mm,
Tonali might have left Milan, but Teo has stayed. Mike Mannion has stayed. Tomori's still there. Rafael Leão's still there. Like Benacer, when he's back, he's still gonna be elite. And then you have now Pulisic better. On the bench, Chukwueze and Okafor. Like
yeah.
Pioli, cook. Let him cook. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Top four,
It's
AC
it,
Milan, realistic, minimal. So let's see if
yeah.
Scudetto is possible. I think it
But
is, but
one thing yeah,
I still don't
and
know.
that's the thing is we have seen windows like this with Christian, right? So we have to be optimistically cautious or cautiously optimistic, whichever way you want to put it, because we do know all it takes is one injury and he's on the sideline for whatever, hamstring strain, 2 months. So here's hoping that that's not the case. But as of right now, as you've mentioned in the past, and as you and I have talked about offline, we want to see these guys, especially the American guys, playing the way that they play for the U.S. national team. because they generally play with a freedom, even in spite of Berhalter, that just makes you happy because they're playing Pulisic balls when he plays with the U.S. national team. Yunus Musa, they haven't even seen Yunus Musa yet, and I really think he's going to fit incredibly well because he's versatile as hell in that midfield for Pioli, and we'll see when AC Milan gets punched in the face whether or not they can get back up again, because we know it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when and how they deal with it. But they do. They have all the pieces intact. Some of them had bad seasons last year, and we know they're good enough to snap back. I like Malik Thiaw, who is now partnering with Tomori. I think he's only going to get better because he's young too. He was a shrewd pickup from I think it was like Schalke or something.
Yes, it was.
So their first big test will be this coming weekend against a Mourinho-led AS Roma that 100% needs a win, because they just lost to Verona, I think, and they tied their first game to like
Lukaku might be going there.
Yeah.
So
I saw that. Chelsea might be able to offload him after all.
Mourinho,
How did they do that?
Bellotti or Lukaku, that ain't bad. Or Tammy Abraham. Mourinho's got that strikers happy. That's what I gotta say. But with AC Milan too, I like how you said Malik Thiaw, great center back, partnering with Tomori, and Kiaer is on the bench. And they actually have good. They signed to another center back, Marco Pellegrino. That was a shrewd business, like you said, and Lorenzo Colombo too. So and Kalulu's on the bench. So in terms of depth, in terms of youth recruitment, I think that's what AC Milan have been doing a lot under the radar. And even Charles de Ketelaere, his loan is going well at Atalanta. So that was the best decision to make it, to loan him out. And new life for Charles de Ketelaere too. But people, let us know, what are you thinking about AC Milan? Can AC Milan win the Scudetto? Will they win the Scudetto? Let us know what you're thinking, and like this video for more videos just like this. But Breton, I'm gonna say it. It has to be said like it is. It has to be said like this. 2 months ago, Inter Miami was the worst team in the MLS. Now they're the best team in the MLS, Breton. No doubts. Best player Messi, 45 minutes out, switches, he comes in, scores on his debut, and Inter Miami beat who? New York Red Bulls. A team that I thought would be difficult. But the movements, the vision, the playmaking, no defender in MLS is ready to defend Messi. The playmaking ability has never been seen in the MLS. So go bold, Messi. Keep going.
It's true, and it remains to be seen whether there's anybody that can stand in their way. I think only fixture congestion in some way, shape, or form, maybe not testing Messi, but testing the depth of the roster around Messi, will be the only way that Inter Miami, whatever. They made their first step. It was a hell of a cameo. It wasn't a cameo. It was a transcendent performance off the bench. But I just love it because it was once again the two Argentinians, or the Miami-born hopeful U.S. player, 18 years old, but for right now he's a Argentinian youth international, linking up on that play. Messi picking out a play or picking out a pass within the box. Within the box that literally there's nobody else in MLS that could pick out that pass. Obviously, there's nobody else in the world that can pick out that pass as shrewdly as Kekwe, as it's so nice. And Kramashi doing the right thing. He was probably taught by Messi to do it right away. First times it back across, and it was like they were just having a pass. And he just passed it into the back of the net. But listen, Lionel Messi now has, come on, what are we looking at here?
So Messi has 9 wins in 9 games. He has 11 goals, 3 assists, and 1 trophy in all this too.
But and the crazier win wasn't even the Red Bulls. I have to say that.
Nashville.
The crazier win was, Nashville was great, but just days later, they are in. Okay, so previous to this, let me set the stage really quickly. Inter Miami, terrible team previous to Lionel Messi. Trying to figure them out, dealing with roster sanctions, dealing with turnover, new guys coming in, not yet getting their feet under them, and probably expecting Messi, but not wanting to get ahead of themselves. Terrible in the MLS standings. But there is our FA Cup, which is U.S. Open Cup. Pretty old tournament, and it's pretty amazing if you can get pretty far in it. Inter Miami, without Messi, managed to get to the U.S. Open Cup semifinal. Okay. And they go to Cincinnati, one of the strongest teams in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go to Cincinnati days after winning the League's Cup final versus Nashville.
They won it.
And they won it. But not only that, they were down. They got punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Miami was down 2-0. Messi was on the field. Busquets was on the field. Jordi Alba was on the field, and they were down 2-0. For all intents and purposes, it actually looked like Cincinnati was going to potentially kind of keep things afloat and win this thing. And then once again, instead of him scoring the goals, Messi decides to be the architect. Beautiful first pass to Campagna. The second one in the 97th minute.
Yep.
Forced extra time. And then in extra time, they had to score a third goal to equalize, or vice versa. And then, of course, they went on penalties. And guess who wins? Guess who wins the game for them again? 18-year-old Benja Kramashi scores the penalty kick, steps up to score the deciding penalty kick for them to now have a go at yet another trophy. That was
in the Open Cup
fantastic what
final. Happened. So yeah, it was really good.
That's what I like seeing. That's when you know it's like he's there obviously for more than a paycheck, which we all know he's there for more than a paycheck. But what I'm saying is like they were punched. They were punched. Don't take that soundbite because they were punched in the face and they got back up and they got that done. That's why that Cincinnati game, I think, tells me that barring the rest of their roster breaking down, which I don't think they will because Diego Gomez is new. Avilés has come in. They have some young players that Facundo Farias, who barely played yet. They're doing the right things and they are setting the stage. So yeah, they're probably getting to the playoffs. It's whether or not there's somebody out there that can throw a wrench in the grinder.
They are getting to the playoffs.
But I love it.
They are getting to the playoffs. Kramaski is one of the best players in the MLS playing next to Lionel Messi, okay? He is.
Yeah.
And Busquets obviously is elevating the old team because Busquets has only played for Barca, Spanish national team, and in Inter Miami. That is the luck and the greatness that the MLS is witnessing. Witness greatness with Busquets and Lionel Messi. That's deserving. It's deserving.
It's great. And here's one crazy stat for you. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I get it. A lot of people shrug and shriek about MLS and their standards and whatnot. But listen, the three teams that Messi beat, okay? Philadelphia, Nashville, and Cincinnati, all within 8 days. Okay. They had a combined 3 losses in their last 33-some games at home. He beat all 3 of them in 8 days, right? Messi and Miami beat all 3 of them in 8 days. So, yeah, no, a lot of it is the quality around him has to catch up, but that's exactly why he's here. Exactly. That's exactly why Inter Miami made the financial or had the financial wherewithal to get this done, and Messi is here to raise this game. But the spending needs to catch up to that one massive investment over time. But there's not. I can't tell you how many text messages that I have gotten about people watching their first game. My father-in-law is texting me he's watching games at midnight. He's catching up on Messi highlights, right? And he loves the Union. He's a Philadelphia fan. But when it comes down to it, I mean, he just loves the pizzazz, the entertainment around it. And it also makes him learn about the other teams in the league. So we'll see where this goes. But early signs are, I mean, you could not have asked for a better entry into the league, into the American soccer, yes, I said soccer, landscape for Messi, because it's wonderful. He gets some winning, and we'll see what happens from here on out. But
you say soccer, but Messi only speaks Spanish, so I'm certain he says football.
Football.
I know he's transporting that football culture to the US, and you love to see it. And going with what you said, Messi is playing like a player that would win a Ballon d'Or, would play in the MLS, and that's what is happening. He's going extremely bold, and Inter Miami will be going to the MLS playoffs, in my point of view, even though they're 14th right now. But let us know. Put down below what are you thinking about Inter Miami. Comment about Messi. Is he going to win the Ballon d'Or? Do you believe he will? Let us know in the comment section down below. But you said MLS, there's another league. This league is
Yeah.
Some people say Saudi League's destroying football, but the truth is the Saudi League is investing boldly. Boldly, okay? I was shook when I saw that Otavio left Porto, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody was
Yeah.
expecting that move. And I'm going to say this. In the Saudi Pro League, the best midfield is no doubt of Al Nassr. In the league, they might not be best positioned right now, which they will be. But they have, in midfield, Sekou Fofana, Brozovic, and Otavio. That is a ridiculous midfield that would be elite in Europe too, playing wise. So, like, what do you think? What do you think? And Laporte, Laporte, sorry, left City. Laporte left City to Al Nassr too.
Yeah.
I was shook with that one.
Yeah. Listen, but you're shook with those. I think the one that has got me over the line that says, "Oh gosh, nobody is safe now," is Gabri Vega. Gabri Vega for me was like okay, wow. This is a guy that was chased by Napoli, chased by Manchester City at one point. Liverpool, I think, was sniffing around him. Real Madrid. You had quite a few admirers and just up and at him. And yeah, I absolutely love him. And yeah, you know what? I probably will watch him if I can watch him. Oh wait, Fox just bought in the States. Yeah,
What?
they just bought the rights, so
Fox
we will
Sports?
be able to watch him. But listen, but here's what's really interesting, because it was that one, I think, where I really started to notice that other
Matthias
professionals,
Jaisel.
right?
It's Matthias
Tony
Jaisel's team.
Cruz, right? But Tony, that's true. That's true. Because he is going to Al Ali,
Yep.
who is still building, I guess, their core. But
Can I just say this
what was
though?
the big
With
thing?
Al Alil with
Yeah.
Gabri Vega has Kessier next to him. In center backs, they have Ibanez, Demiral, and then in front they have that front trio of Alan Saint Maxime, Firmino, and Mahrez. So they're shaping up. They're shaping up.
But listen, if Jaisel starts bringing RB Salzburg kids, then I might have to become a fan.
Oscar
I
Klopp.
might if he starts bringing in the Seskos of the world, who are the ones? Samson Baidu, right?
Oh, yeah.
And who's the one I love
Konate.
right now?
You love Konate.
Dijon Kamari. Oh, Karim Konate. That could absolutely happen, in my opinion. And frankly, that's when I have to start thinking. I mean, okay, I'm going to boil it down because I'm not getting political or anything like this. The only thing that I have to say about this that just feels weird, right, is the fact that the money comes from the government and the fact that there are no regulations on it whatsoever. There is no regulatory body per se, except maybe FIFA, when it comes to this money spent. But at the same time, some clubs can look at, I mean, the majority of the signings previous to this were players that, like Mitrovic. Getting $53 million for Mitrovic is a hell of a bargain, I think, long-term, considering injury history and things like that. So Fulham should actually be happy, even though it did happen with 10 days to go in the flipping window, so that doesn't help long-term. But
their window will
it's
finish
just
21st of September.
Right.
I expect many more players, and the biggest players maybe coming after September, Bretson.
Yeah, and that's part of what I mean. Like, they have 3 weeks more to poach these teams. Even Jurgen Klopp's like, oh gosh, what's going to happen? I already lost Fabinho. I already lost whatever. And
Henderson.
a lot of that comes their different regulatory body, or there is no regulatory body whatsoever. So it's crazy. It's also interesting. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to not necessarily judge it per se. I'm going to watch and see how it happens. I'll get out my popcorn. But it is the Gabri Vega signing that has got my attention more so, and I'll say it 15 times from the rooftops, more so than anybody else out there.
Come on,
Everybody
Ronaldo.
else is, for the most part, star power later on in their career, still obviously world-class footballers, but now they're buying Wonderkids, essentially. They're buying players that would be the next face of big club teams, Gabri Vega, and we'll see if that continues. But or is everything going to turn out and be maybe Jota's?
I agree.
Well,
Al Ittihad without Jota, even they're balling out. They have 3 games, 3 wins, which I'll get to that right in a second. But what you saying too? I wanted to say, because I was with Al Nassr and Al Alil. That's quite good with Matthias Jaisel. They're playing pretty well too in the Saudi Pro League. They have 7 points right now. But Al Nassr with Cristiano Ronaldo scored another hat-trick for Al Nassr. And in his career, he has 63 hat-tricks in his career, the most of any professional footballer ever. And before the age of 30, he had 30 hat tricks. After the age of 30, he has scored 33 hat tricks. That is insane.
Ooh.
He's developing more. And Cristiano Ronaldo, at the age of 38, will have more than 30 goals this year in the 2023, which is fantastic. And I think he's going to break that record in 2024, maybe. Because he's going to be playing the full season, and he will know how to play in the Saudi League too. But you said about the money spent and the highest net spenders in football. It's Saudi Pro League teams and the Premier League teams right now. But Al Hilal, the highest net spend in football, highest net spenders in football right now. Al Hilal is first with 352 million. Big up on Neymar to put that number up. Arsenal is second, 201 million. And third is Man United with 154 million. And to give context too, Bournemouth is in seventh with 126 million net spent. Okay, Bournemouth in seventh. That's mad. And they equal the amount that Real Madrid spent this summer. Bournemouth.
Wow.
So I think there was already like a league dominating the football transfer window, because you had Bournemouth equaling Real Madrid beforehand. So I think that was already something that was happening. And now with the Saudi Pro League, they're just going crazy. It's true. And the player, and Al Hilal is the best team. I'm an Al Nassr supporter. I am, but Al Hilal is the team to beat. AFC champions, and Malcolm scored 3 goals in his first game for Al Hilal. Like, he's right there. Neymar still hasn't played, but Neymar, come on. Koulibaly, Bono, Ruben Neves, Milinkovic-Savic. So I'm going to see Al Nassr, Al Hilal, Al Ettifaq, Al Hilal, Stevie G. Shout out to Stevie G. He's doing pretty well with Jordan Henderson and Moussa Dembele. And yes, the final thing I wanted to say is Al Ittihad. And I agree with you, Bretson, that these 4 teams are the teams that are getting more advantages because they have the support of the government. It's factual. Al Hilal, Al Nassr, Al Nassr, Al Hilal, Al Ittihad,
Al Ali,
and Al Alil. The 4 teams have the support of the government. I completely agree. But I think after 3 years, I think they're going to end up by having every team signing players. I think they're going to make it more balanced out. Okay, so it's a wait and see type thing. And Al Ittihad, I wanted to say Al Ittihad right now is the team playing best football. Okay, Benzema has 1 goal and 2 assists. Okay, he's balling out, and they have no goals. Al Ittihad right now has no goals suffered in 3 games. They have no goals suffered. Why? Their double pivot is Kante and Fabinho. Elite, okay, people. So that's what I gotta say. It's a new league, new teams, new shocks, and I think in a year to 2 years' time, I'm gonna agree with Ronaldo that it's a top 5 league, maybe. Okay, because I wasn't expecting Gabri Vega coming. You know why I say that, Bretson? What's the difference of a Saudi Pro League right now and a La Liga, a Bundesliga? Is that the fast pace of the game, the quality of the touch, the quality of everything. And right now, with the midfields that are being built, the quickness of the game is elevating every month. By having these midfields, I'm starting to say that in 1 to 2 years' time, this league could be top 5. So let's wait and see.
Oh no! That's no.
Yeah,
no, there's so much more.
Definitely will be ahead of MLS in this case. So,
but MLS is doing it so that they can be a destination league for years and years and years to come. I mean, if the Saudi government. But if it depends if they decide they want to spend their money elsewhere. It depends if the government, they just decided. They could have done this 15 years ago. They could have done it 10 years ago. They could have done it 5.
They didn't have the resources so strongly.
They absolutely oil is a resource.
How many people would be at the stadium to watch the games? Like, the country now has much more population, which elevates like the amount of potential that a club has as a brand, I think.
Well, that didn't just happen, sure, overnight.
15 years.
But at the same time, they have committed for a kind of 10-year run. But if they decide to pull the plug, the funding's gone, and these contracts aren't Todd Boehly contracts. They're not 8-year contracts here. We're talking about the majority of these players, although there have been some very, very crazy new signings like the Gabri Vega. Heck, they just brought in Habib Diallo, who I thought was going to be Golden Boot winner this year in Ligue 1 if Mbappe was gone too. And I think he's playing for Al Shabaab. But listen, what for me, it's just the fact that it needs to be sustained. It needs to be sustained long term. They have to continue injecting more funds, because this isn't development per se. It's more so buy the stars, let them play, and then it's buying trading cards and then putting them on the field. And if that brings sustained,
I don't agree with you at all, Bretson, because the people that are organizing the Saudi Pro League are the people that organized the Premier League 20 to 30 years ago. They're the same minds, the people that are behind the Saudi Pro League. And you just said it. Fox Sports bought the rights of the Saudi Pro League. So they're buying the rights because not for a lot right now. But in 3 to 5 years, with a FIFA Club World Cup elevating the status of these teams, their brand will elevate
the money that they get from that, while yes, you get distribution, the money that they get from that means nothing. Means nothing to the Saudi Pro League, right? Because they've already started with a blank check. They've started with a blank check.
But they're being talked. They just want to be talked more.
There's no real... Well, yeah, I mean, you can buy your way into being talked more. It's whether or not it's sustained or whether or not it's a flash in the pan, which I think is the bigger argument. A lot of people, do I think it's the Chinese Super League anymore? No, probably not. No, I'm just saying that, right? Probably not, right? But they started with a blank check. They're buying their league, basically. They're buying all the people for their league. MLS, I don't think there's even a comparison there either, while the goal, I guess, is the same. But MLS has not opened. There's no blank check. There is no, there's actually salary caps and structure and whatever.
Right now.
And no, Messi still actually fit in under the rules.
It's just a blank check for Apple and Adidas. It's just for a blank check from Apple and Adidas for Messi.
But listen, that actually incentivizes people.
It's good.
For growth.
It's good. It's fantastic.
It incentivizes people.
I'm
for
not
growth.
going against
but the
it.
the government ain't giving out equity for government, right? They're not giving out 5% equity. Cristiano Ronaldo, here, have a piece of Saudi Aramco. You know, our biggest company in Saudi Arabia. They're not doing that right now. They might do it maybe with the Pro League. Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. So it is the only difference I feel is it's transactional. And whether or not that transaction continues or it leads to, which I think we all hope this is what it leads to, the building of the local Saudi Arabian actual footballing economy.
It will.
Right? Or is it just the shift of it? I know you are very confident that it will. I am less confident
Saudi
that it will.
Arabia beat Argentina in this World Cup, and they didn't have the lead that they have right now. So
they stunk. Then they stunk the rest of the way.
That happens. That happens, mate. it's development
but and Argentina went to win the World Cup.
Exactly.
So it was actually they did Argentina a favor, frankly.
Exactly. It's not a favor, but it was a great result, and I'm in the opposite in that end, because investment comes from, like I said at the start of this video, with the Premier League. They were already doing a lot of that, and now it's a new league, it's a new environment. Champions League is going to be changing next year. FIFA Club World Cup is going to be elevating. I think this is going to be a very different world. The culture, this is the important part. That MLS, Saudi Pro League, I think the Saudi Pro League realizes this, that it's the culture. They can't replace the European culture, but they can try and match the quality of play. I don't think they will in 2 to 3 years' time, okay? But they can try, and that's what they're trying to do. But the culture cannot be emulated. So people, let us know, what are you thinking about the Saudi Pro League, everything that's being mentioned. Put your thoughts in the comment section. We want to know what you're thinking about the teams. Who are you supporting too? And what do you think is going to happen in the recent future, people? Go bold. So, Wonderkids. We got to talk about Wonderkids. A lot happened. And I think it makes sense to start Wonderkids with Bellingham. Because Bellingham is the best Wonderkid in the world. If he is a Wonderkid. Because 20 years old, the best player at Real Madrid. 4 goals scored, 3 games. Like, if he doesn't ball out, they might draw or lose. But he's the one that is putting the responsibility at such a young age, and it's such a short period of time. Jude Bellingham.
Well, you're going to love this. Jude is the first Real Madrid player since Cristiano Ronaldo to score in his first 3 La Liga matches. he is also, and that's not a comparison of Jude to Ronaldo, just a very interesting milestone
Yeah,
there.
and he's a midfielder.
But at the same time, he is the youngest in Real Madrid history to score in 3
Wow.
consecutive games for Real Madrid. And he's playing in a role that he had not played previously for Birmingham City or for Borussia Dortmund. He's
Fuck.
literally playing at a 10. And Ancelotti, who obviously has seen many leagues, who has seen many teams, is a guy that's honestly building a tactic around him. And that in and of itself, I don't even know if we can qualify him as a Wonderkid anymore. And to be honest, I think it might even say to the world, if you're watching the El Clasico in the future, especially with this unfortunate Pedri, and I hope it's not too long,
Me too,
injury, it feels like that momentum is shifting a little bit again. Barcelona rankled people last year by kicking the, excuse my language, but kicking the crap out of Real Madrid in La Liga. So it'll be really interesting to see this first El Clasico because you just need Pedri. Let's be honest. You might agree with me on this. Pedri has not looked the same since he got that injury post-Olympics.
I don't agree with
Since
that.
that post-Olympics issue. I don't think he's
Pedri-
looked as.
I think Pedri's still good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he was really good
Oh,
last
he's-
season.
no.
Last season, Pedri. Sorry.
Yeah. No. No. I agree. He's still very, very good. But if it's going to be peppered with 2 months off, a month off here and there,
Oh yeah.
it becomes unfortunately a consistent theme, and one that I hope he gets through. I really do.
I agree with you. Like Pedri,
Yep.
the consistency is something that people are starting to point fingers, which they should. Okay, just like Lewandowski. Lewandowski ain't scoring the goals too. But I agree with you. With Bellingham is overshadowing right now Pedri. But I do think Barca are gonna win La Liga though. With Pedri having a massive importance. But Jude Bellingham, like Real Madrid has Courtois injured. They have Vinicius Jr. After international break, he's going to be injured until then. They have Eder Militao injured. Arda Güler injured. Despite all that, Bellingham is still playing the way he is. That is what's putting me bonkers. And you see the mentality of the players. And Alaba even says it. This kid is he's unique. He's special. He's insane, actually. Alaba said Bellingham is insane. And that he's insane. Why? Because he's a leader already at such a young age. So everybody, the English fans, you guys are winning. Because Harry Kane, like, if you see the transfers above 100 million in this transfer window, it's actually ironic that the English players are the ones that are actually immediate impact. It's not Caicedo. Well, Declan Rice, maybe that can be a discussion. But Bellingham and Kane, definitely worth the price tag. So I just wanted to say that it's really interesting.
It is, and we've said it. We've called it what, the intangibles, right? He has the things that it just, for a 20-year-old, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that he has them, and it tells you that he's barring some ridiculous turn of events. Jude Bellingham likely will go down as one of the most consequential players for England, likely, and Real Madrid. But there are always bumps in the road, things that might change. But as of right now, the dude he does all the right stuff off the field. He does all the right stuff on the field. Everybody that talks about him loves him for the most part. Seems like he has a great, upstanding, supportive family. Hell, he's got the great story of a brother that is also trying to kind of make his own way in the footballing world. Hey, this is like a marketing dream for English football and for La Liga, frankly. So I know we talk about Jude a lot, but I remember you and I talking about him when he was 15 years old, set to make his debut for Birmingham City. So it's crazy to just see this comeuppance, and not comeuppance, that's the wrong way to put it, but it's come up. And to see him match every new tier of football that he approaches, and it looks as if he's been there for years. Yeah, it really does.
Completely agree. Just like Joe, it's like Joe Bellingham we were starting to chat about because of Jude. It's amazing the impact that his brother has had in football. But we're saying the impact he's had in football. Before I get to the Wonderkid at PSG, because there's a bold Wonderkid at PSG that is cooking, I want to give a shout out to Mbappe, okay? Mbappe played professional football for the first time at 16. Ever since then, he has 400 goal involvements. 400 goal involvements at the age of 24. Mbappe has won a World Cup too. He's been a runners-up in another World Cup in which he scored in a hat-trick final. All this at the age of 24 with 281 goals and 119 assists. That's insane. PSG's all-time goal scorer to Mbappe at the age of 24. So whoever's criticizing Mbappe, just remember he's still 24 and he's getting to that stage. But I'm saying about him because there's a new player. Not that's going to be the best in the world, okay? But it's going to be one of the best in his position, okay? Warren Zaire Emery. If you hear FC Wonderkid podcasts, we've spoken about this kid since our first podcasts, okay? First 10 podcasts, we mentioned Zaire Emery, okay? Because Zaire Emery was a PSG jewel, crown jewel. And it's lovely to see that Zaire Emery, when Verratti leaves, they're not thinking about signing another player. They're thinking about their own now. Because Mbappe, captain of France and captain of PSG team, like he's the leader of that team. He's the owner of that team. He wants Zaire Emery to be there. And at 17, that's mad that Zaire Emery gets that responsibility. And in 2030, Warren Zaire Emery will be 24. In 2030. That's mad. 24,
that is mad.
Like a World Cup has been in the States, like in 2026, and he's still under 24. So let him cook. Let him cook.
Exactly. This clear out, much like Harry Kane leaving Tottenham makes way for guys like Pape Matar Sarr and Bissouma. I know they don't play the same positions, but to take on responsibilities that they wouldn't have previously had. It's the same way this PSG clear out, I think, is going to be better for PSG in the long term. And I can certainly tell you it's going to be better for Warren Zaire Emery. But the fact is Warren Zaire Emery was knocking on the door even previous to guys like Neymar leaving or Verratti having some sort of a holdout here, or there was talk about him potentially leaving. But a lot of their high-priced stars are on their way out the door, which makes way for either them to make the same mistake, bringing in high-priced stars again, or let your young guys cook. And that's what Warren Zaire Emery, completely unsurprisingly, is doing right now for PSG. And yeah, once again, PSG, I think, is going to be a weird type of dark horse for Champions League. They definitely are, because they're just getting to know each other. They're just starting to, Asensio scores his first goal. Mbappe's back, and he looks like he's beaming ear to ear and loving every bit of it. He's once again the star of the show. Watch out for PSG. I mean, and Zaire Emery is going to be a huge part of it next to Vitinha. It's good. It's going to be a fun.
Look at those
fun
names,
future.
mate. A different team. Look, young names: Nunes, Ugart, Zaire Emery.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what's to come next with PSG. Just like Man City, mate. Like, I just want to say, why is Man City going to make history and become maybe the first team to win 4 Premier League titles? Because they have Guardiola and they have elite recruitment. Like Man City, in the space of 1 year, they're going to be signing. Man City, in the space of 1 year, they've signed Haaland, Julian Alvarez, Jeremy Doku, and Joško Gvardiol. If you've spoken to us 2 years ago, we'd say every these 4 players, all of them are ballers with world-class potential. And they can ball out in the present too. And that's what City do. They don't sign doubts. They sign certainties. Players that they know they can develop more. Alvarez is that for 20 million. Doku's going to be that for 55 million pounds. The replacement of Mahrez. And even if it's not youth, with recruitment, Man City still get Grealish, that long-term was good. Rodri, Ruben Dias. Like, it's just, they know how to pay. And how to pay with quality. So big shout out with City to that.
And also big shout out to Jeremy Doku, because that's a move. This is actually a kid that we had the privilege to actually talk to. I remember we did like a Instagram story type of takeover thing back in the day on FB Wonderkids, right? And he just came across to us as just such a nice kid, right? Just wanting to do well. He had made the move from Anderlecht to Stade Rennais, and now it's great to see his talents, which hopefully continues without injury moving forward, because he beats at least from a progressive perspective and dribbling perspective, Jeremy Doku beat Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi in a lot of metrics last season. Okay, he's more of a specialist than, say, a generalist that can do it all well. But my goodness, if you haven't seen him play yet, just wait till you see him. If you thought Mahrez was aggressive, Jeremy Doku is insanely aggressive and will literally just go straight to the box.
Explosive. I think
just,
that's the
exactly.
Doku's extremely fast and explosive. And Doku arrives in the Premier League, and no doubt, at his age, he's one of the best dribblers in the league. As he's just arrived, and we say that with certainty because you said it. He was matching dribbling stats of Neymar and Messi. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's such a
And stuff that led to something, right? So there's like
Unreal.
shot creating actions and progressive carries that lead to shots and all that stuff that they really like to dig into. So it's not just like he dribbles for fun. He dribbles and stuff gets done. Could his finishing be better? Great. Yeah, sure. Could his final thought process be better? Yeah, great. But guess where he's going? He's going to Manchester City. He's going to be under Pep Guardiola. That's all going to have to step up. That's all going to have to step up, and he's going to be really dangerous there, very dangerous.
It's the buy that they needed, and it's the move that he needed to in order to become world class. Doku,
and kudos
for
to
the
you.
Belgium national team.
Yeah, kudos to you. You called it. You called it, and I was even skeptical, but no, I mean it came out not even 2 weeks later, and I think you got hit hard in the comments on that too.
I've got to go bold sometimes. I got to go bold sometimes with the recruitment, and you know my dream one day, never know, Luis Campos, something like that.
Yeah.
You know. Got to work to get there. But wanted to say, mentioning Portuguese recruitment and stuff like that, I wanted to say Sporting. Shout out to them because you saw Gyökeres' first game at Sporting. He was pretty surprising. And you knew that the right back spot needed sorting, and Fresneda, mate. Sporting signed Fresneda, a player that could have gone to Barca, to Real Madrid, to Arsenal. He's gone to Sporting, one of the best young right backs in the world. And with Ruben Amorim, developing, someone that developed Nuno Mendes, Pedro Porro in the past, watch out for Evan Fresneda, okay? Watch out.
Absolutely.
I'm very excited for what we're going to see from Fresneda at Sporting. Wanted to shout out. Wanted to mention that.
No, is that official or is that on its way? Because I might have missed
I think it's official. It's official, and it's for 9 million plus 3 million in add-ons and 10% of a future fee for Real Valladolid too. I think the Portuguese teams are really nice to they always give 10% of the future fee.
That is nice.
I've been seeing that more and more.
And why not? Why not? I mean, they understand that. Well, actually, I don't want to say that. I might get killed.
No.
But no, they understand that selling is part of the process. Selling higher is generally part of the process.
You're not going to be killed for that. We in Portugal, we're more than used to selling out our best players. At Porto, at Benfica, at Sporting, like if Gyökeres scores 30 goals in the league and he balls out in Europa League, he's gone. So it's like, it's in a market that needs strikers. So, like, no offense taken, mate.
No, yeah. So it was interesting because I think Fresneda was almost over the line with Bournemouth. We thought that was going to happen, and they were going to have Milos Kerkez on the left, and they were going to have Fresneda on the right. But no, I think Sporting, I think Liga Portugal is a much better landing place for him.
That ain't bad for Bournemouth too. Kerkez and Max Aarons. Right. I was pretty surprised, but I was gonna just tell you, like, we know that we're a selling off league, Portuguese league, but I think who doesn't want to admit that maybe they are a selling off league too is the Bundesliga, mate. Because Jude Bellingham was sold.
They're all gone.
And like, let's see if Jamal Musiala is gonna stay at Bayern Munich long term. But in terms
of
who's
next?
Wirtz.
You know who's next?
Florian
Wirtz. And the new connection, Wirtz and Boniface.
And Xabi Alonso.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think Xabi Alonso is going to stay another season coaching Leverkusen too. Like Leverkusen, Jeremy Frimpong, Xabi Alonso, Florian Wirtz, Boniface, enjoy until you see it still. Like, that's what I got to say. I think they'll get top 3 in the Bundesliga, but Xavi Simons, I want to say too. Xavi Simons was unreal against Stuttgart. I'd watched that game. 1 goal, 2 assists. The goal from pure resilience, okay? He missed the first shot, and he gets the second, and he gets that one in. Xavi Simons is going to get more than 50 goal involvements in the Bundesliga, people. We fully believe in that, and if he just did that, what we saw, 1 goal, 2 assists in a game, What he knows what Openda does. Oh my
You
goodness.
said 50 goal involvements?
No, 20, more than 20 goal
20.
involvements.
Oh
and
my
if I did
gosh.
say more than, but if I said 50, no, 20 goal involvements, people. But
those are some numbers. Yeah, no, Xavi Simons getting as well. It's to be expected. I still am flabbergasted at how well that PSV loan or that PSV time at PSV went for him, and how quickly he just was like, "Hey, y'all." Y'all want to hate me? It just fuels me, and he just goes out and it becomes he was joint Golden Boot scorer, and on top of that had double-digit assists, and then he's already waltzing into the Bundesliga, technically a leg up, with a very strong side, and he's already shoo-in the 11, a new 11 that's going to get stronger as the season goes on. So yeah, you can't, and he's in the Netherlands setup. I mean, Xavi Simons, maybe breakout star of Euro 2024. What do you think?
That's bold, because if he's the breakout star of that Euros, he's then coming to PSG that maybe will be without Mbappe. And Mbappe is at Real Madrid, and he's back at PSG with that big responsibility of Xavi Simons, Warren Zaïre-Emery, Ugarte. Wow, mate, that would be such a bold scenario. But if you're listening until now, let us know. What do you think about the podcast? Topics that you'd like for us to talk about. Tell us what you enjoyed the most. And it's very appreciated if you can like this video on YouTube. Even if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, if you could just hop to the YouTube podcast and leave a like, we appreciate it a lot. But if you're listening until now, thank you so much for going bold in another week. And put on the notifications too. I wanted to say that. Yeah. Put on notifications to see every video we put out on YouTube, because we are posting big time. More than 5 posts a week, guaranteed, people. So you go bold and just put notifications so you are always warned. And again, thank you for listening until now, community.